Hello, welcome to the channel. This video is about infinitives and gerunds. Let's get started. This is a new chapter. We are going to focus on two infinitives, gerund, and bad infinitives. Let's take a look what topics we gonna cover. The topics we're gonna cover included verbs follow different patterns. Some verbs always followed by a gerund, the ing form of the verb. We considering taking a trip. Taking a trip is a gerund. I don't enjoy lying on the beach. Lying on the beach is a gerund. Some verbs are always followed by a to infinitive, the base form of a verb without adding any ing, ed, s, or es. Example: my mom happens to be Australian. To be, the word be, is an infinitive form. And she needed to show, the word show is an infinitive form of the verb show. Some verbs can be followed by either a gerund or a to infinitive, but the meanings has a little different. Example: you don't remember traveling at that age, or my mom remembered to make a souvenir book for me. So using gerund and also using to infinitive, the meaning will be different. And some verbs and expressions are always followed by a bad infinitive. One kind of bad infinitive is using as a color red. Like, I do like, I can't serve, I don't enjoy. Some other bad infinitives are acting like an adjective, function as an yellow, and we will also go through about that. And also, expressions used to and be and became to get used. Okay? For example, we used to go. The expressions function as a color red because of the word used to is a module verb. Hopefully, I'll get used, will get, and the word used will function a little bit different. Okay, we will come across all these. This video is the second part of infinitives and gerunds. Let's get started. To infinitive, what is it? To smile, to walk, to be is the base form of a verb. Now we use to infinitive to talk about actions and events in general. For example, we can use to infinitives on their own or as a part of infinitive phrases. Example: I like to travel. To travel is to infinitive on their own. I'd love to travel around the world with you. To travel around the world with you is a to infinitive phrase. To infinitive phrases are very functional. It could be a color blue, a noun. It could be a color yellow, an adjective. Or it could be a color green, an adverb. It depends on where do you put to infinitive in different positions of a sentence. Let's take a look at the following examples. Now, we could use to infinitive as the subject of a sentence like this. To think of traveling as a waste of money is completely wrong. Or using to infinitive as a color yellow. We can use to infinitive as the complement of a verb. Complement. Alright, for example, her dream is to travel to South America. To travel to South America is telling you more about her dream We could also use two infinitives to talk about purpose, giving reason, to say why a person does something. Example, I went to Japan. Why? To climb the mountain. So this part is telling you the reason I went to Japan. Okay, I went to Japan because I wanted to climb Mount Fuji. That is something we have to be careful. What is it? We seldom split the two infinitive into two parts, but in modern English it's different. Let's take a look. Some people consider it's incorrect to split infinitives. But be careful, the word not is always goes before to infinitive. He promised not to tell. However, split infinitives are very common in modern English like this. She wants what? To fully experience, using an adverb to tell you more about experience. Okay, so to experience is the to infinitive phrase. However, we put the adverb fully in between to and experience. Okay, like this. Got it? There are some verbs they always followed by two infinitives. What are they? Let's take a look. It doesn't really matter what tense the main verb is, we always use the to infinitive without changing any of this form. These are the verbs that are always followed by to infinitive. Want, plan, desire, promise. No matter it's simple present, present continuous, simple past, or even present perfect, the two infinitive are just simply follow the color red. And sometimes, other than to infinitive, we could replace it by a that clause. Let's take a look at the following examples. The family members all agree. Agree what? Agree something. These are the something. It also seems what? That Canada is a friendly place. This video is about two infinitives and gerunds. Let's get started. This time we are talking about gerunds. Let's take a look. What is gerunds? When we use an ing form in present participle of a verb and function as a color blue, we call it a gerund. Example, I enjoy books. Books as a color blue. I enjoy reading. Reading as a gerund, changing from a color red, read, to become a color blue, reading. So, I enjoy reading. Gerunds is function as a color blue. So, what can we do with a color blue? There's a couple of situations that you can consider. The first one, let's take a look. We can use gerund, the color blue, as the subject of a sentence when we talk about action in a general way. For example, traveling is a great way to learn about the world. Traveling is a gerund, changing from the color red travel and changing to become traveling. It's a great way to learn about the world. Then what's next? We can use the color blue as an object, and the example is like that. She loves hiking every weekend. What actually she loves? Hiking. So, hiking is a gerund, changing from the verb color red hike to become hiking. We can also use a gerund after a prepositions. To form a prepositional phrase, you have to have a preposition plus a blue, and gerund could be used as this blue. Let's take a look. I'm thinking about going to Manchester. About going. Okay, what is actually you are thinking about? Okay, going to Manchester is something you're thinking about. I'm interested. What is actually your interest? In seeing European countries. And sometimes we could also use the gerund as part of a noun. Let's take a look. What is it? In compound nouns or noun. Example, a traveling companion. Traveling is a gerund, but its function as a color yellow, telling you more about what kinds of companion. A shopping mall. Shopping is a gerund, telling you more about what kinds of mall we are having. Similar to infinitives, gerund also didn't affected by different tenses. Let's take a look. We usually avoid traveling at the weekends. Simple present tense or even present perfect continuous tense I have been practicing, asking for directions in English. With different tenses, gerund will remain unchanged. Remind you, never use an infinitive after a prepositions. It's simply because after prepositions, we always follow a color blue. If you are using infinitive, it violates the grammar rules. Let's take a look. We never use infinitives after prepositions. Prepositional phrase was made by a prepositions plus a blue. The word to, we have to be cautioned because sometimes it could be a prepositions, sometimes it's part of a to infinitive like this. I am looking forward to visit Canada. Looking forward to is a phrasal verb, and the usage is looking forward to something. So we have to say, I'm looking forward to visiting Canada. And there are some verbs that always follow a gerund. Let's take a look at what are they. Admit, fancy, mind, avoid, consider, finish, forgive, miss, practice, delay, imagine, prevent, beeline, involve, quit, dislike, keep on, risk, enjoy, mention, excuse, suggest. This video is talking about two infinitives and gerunds. Let's get started. Last time we talked about two infinitives and gerunds individually. Today we talk about some verbs that follow either two infinitives and gerund, but sometimes they have the same meanings, but sometimes they have a different meaning. Let's take a look. Verbs followed with gerunds or infinitives. Some verbs can be used with either gerunds or two infinitives without a significant change in meaning. For example, I began to cook. I began cooking. Now, some verbs advise, intend, allow, like, begin, love, bother, permit, cease, prefer, start, continue, hate. They have similar meanings with either gerunds or two infinitives. Some verbs with asterisks are followed by two infinitive only when there is an object of the action. What does it mean actually? You can take a look at these two examples. They advised me to take the train. If you want to use the two infinitive after advice, you have to put a color blue like here. And in the other words, you are using pattern number 4. However, if you just simply use gerund, they advised taking the train, it will be pattern number 3. And the other example, they permitted him to smoke. Permit something, that is something to smoke. It's a direct object. Who received this direct object is the indirect object, him. So it's another pattern number 4. They don't usually permit smoking. So you don't permit something that something is smoking. Pattern number 3. How about some other verbs that could either follow two infinitives and gerunds? Let's take a look. With the words like, love, hate, prefer. Sometimes, small differences in usage between the gerund and the to infinitive. I hate arguing. That is in the general term. I hate to argue, but now I will anyway. I like speaking English in general. I like to speak English when I'm abroad. In this particular situation, you prefer to speak in English. There are some verbs. Yes, they could either follow to infinitives or gerunds. However, the meaning will be different. Let's take a look. The word forget and remember. We use to infinitives to talk about something that we will still need to do at a later time. Example, I remember to pick up my ticket. You need to pick up a ticket later. You did not forget. I forgot to do my homework. You need to do your homework, but you did not remember. To pick up my ticket is something you're gonna do. To do my homework is also something you're gonna do. But one you remember, the other one you did not. Then how about if these two verbs follow with a gerund? What does it mean? We use the gerund to talk about something we did in the past. For example, I remember visiting my grandparents' village when I was a child. Visiting my grandparents' village is something happened in the past. Now you still remember it. We forgot paying the bill. Paying the bill is something happened in the past. But later on, you forget about that. You forget you did it. There is another verbs that is really confusing with following gerunds and to infinitives. Let's take a look. With the word try, we use to infinitive when we attempt something quite impossible to succeed. For example, we tried to get tickets to the concert, but it was sold out. So, we paid an effort to get tickets, but we didn't succeed. We use a gerund to talk about an experiment, something we do because it might solve a problem. For example, we tried talking to the security guards. Talking to the security guards might solve the problem. There is another verb, stop. The word stop, when we are using to infinitives and follow with a gerund, the meaning will be quite different. Okay, let's take a look. When we use stop plus a gerund, it has the same meaning as stopped, cease, not continued. I was tired, so I stopped writing. No more writing in the coming future. But if stop plus a to infinitive, it means to interrupt an action, so to start doing something else. For example, on my way home, I stopped to get something to eat. So I stopped driving or I stopped walking so I could have something to eat. There is some other verbs that also have a different meaning when they are using gerunds or when they are using to infinitives. Let's take a look. What are they? The following verbs also have different meanings when followed by gerunds or to infinitives. For example, the word mean plus a gerund, the meaning is involved, but the word mean plus a to infinitive means intended or planned. Go on plus a gerund mean continue. Go on plus a to infinitive mean proceed to do something else. This video is talking about bad infinitives. Let's get started. Now, after we are talking about the difference using to infinitive and gerunds, today we talk about bad infinitives. Let's take a look at the following examples. What is bad infinitives? The bad infinitives is the infinitive without to, without ing. We just use the bare form of a verb. Now, after all module verbs, what's module verbs? Module verbs like could, can, would, will, should, shall. After all these, we will plus a bad infinitive, but they function as a color red. For example, I might go. The word go is following bad infinitives. And I don't want. the word want is also follow bad infinitive. There are 4 color reds that plus a direct object, and afterwards we follow a bad infinitive. And the bad infinitives are function as a yellow, modifying the direct object. Let's take a look at the examples. Now, for example, these 4 verbs have and help, and net, as well as make, plus a direct object. Then we will follow a bad infinitive. For example, the travel agents had a driver pick me up at the airport. Pick is a bad infinitive telling you more about driver. And the word pick, this bad infinitive function as a yellow. Then the driver helped me check. Help me. The word me is the direct object. As well as the check, it's the color yellow, telling you more about the me. Okay? Please let me go. The word me is the direct object. And the word go is the bad infinitive. Who go? Me go. So its function is an adjective. Please let me go to Britain with you. If we are to, it will make the flight seem shorter. Okay, make the flight. Okay, so it's the color blue. As well as sim. Sim is the color yellow. The bad infinitive function as a yellow adjective. There are 6 sense that follow a bad infinitive as well. So what are these? Let's take a look. The word feel, hear, listen to, notice, see, watch, plus a direct object. They also follow a bad infinitive. For example, I have my vaccination yesterday, as I felt a needle go in. So felt what? Little. The needle plus a color yellow. Go. That's right. The word go is talking more about the needle. I heard myself scream out in pain. I hurt. Myself, hurt what? Myself is the color blue. The color blue, and then scream out. Scream is the color yellow. That's right. Alright, so then after these 6 sense, then how about the other things? Would rather. Let's take a look how to use it. Would rather. The word rather is function as a color green. It's a never. Would rather. So the word would is a module verb. That's the reason it's follow a bad infinitive. So let's take a look at these examples. I'd rather travel. Would rather travel. So the word travel here is function as a color red. Would rather. That's right. And the word rather is actually function as a color green. That's true. Good. That is some other situation that we have to follow bad infinitive. After a that clause, after these 4 color red, let's take a look. What are they? First, demand, recommend, request, as well as suggest. He recommended that I book the ticket 1 month in advance. So here, the word booked have to use a bad infinitive. Okay, recommend. However, let's take a look at these example requests. Even we have the subject he, we still use the bad infinitive. He would try, he try. Okay, request that he try to find an available seat for me. There are some situations after these conjunctions. We have to have 2 infinitives, and the 2 infinitives are all in the same way. Let's take a look. I just want to stay at home and read. I refuse to tidy up my room or do any homework. Refused. To tidy up or do any homework. The word or is a conjunction, so that's the reason tidy and do are follow 2 infinitives. Be careful about the verb help. Even they could follow a bad infinitive, but sometimes they could follow something else. Or are they? Let's take a look. Mom helped me pack my suitcase is equal to Mom helped me to pack my suitcase. Following a bad infinitive is no difference from following a to infinitive. However, the color will be a little bit different. Help me to pack. Okay? Help me what? To pack. Okay. Help to pack. What is actually Mom help to pack? And who received these help? Me. Okay? So it's a pattern 4. This video is talking about to infinitives and gerunds. Let's get started. This is the last part of this chapter, to infinitives and gerunds, and today we're gonna talk about used to. Let's take a look. There will be 7 topics that cover in this area. First one, stress the past habit. Talk about past routine. Common ways of negative statement with used to. Common way to form questions. Very formal English of using used to in negative statements. Used to plus be become get. And last one, common mistakes. The first one, why do we use used to? Let's take a look. To use to, the word used to stress a past habit or situation that is different from the present. Example, I used to live in Canada. Okay, I used to. I don't live in Canada anymore. The word used to is a modal verb followed with a bad infinitive. Okay, so this will be a bad infinitive, so it will also be part of a verb. Used to live. Also, when we are talking about a past routine, we could also use the expressions used to. Take a look. During the summer holidays, I used to go. So here, which means I would go fishing every morning. Then when I got home, my mom used to and cooked. It could also using the word would. The word modal verb would could replace used to. Let's take a look. Instead of using I used to, I can say I would go and I would cook. My mom would cook. Then how to form a negative statement using used to? Let's take a look. I didn't used to like traveling, but now I love the past routine word. Okay, so here is a color red, and this part is also a color red. I never used to like traveling, so used is a modal verb, and liked. So used to is a modal verb, and like is another part of the verb. Then how about using used to form a question? Let's take a look. Did you used to live? Or when did you used to live? Okay, so here. And the question word that will be putting at the very front. Just like other question type. And here will be the same. Now, in some very formal English, we could use the word used to in another way in order to form a negative statement. Let's take a look. In very formal English, we form negative statement question with used to, like this. I used not to travel. Okay, so used to live in Canada. So all these are very formal way of using the module verb used to. Let's take a look at some other expressions. When the word used to plus be, become, and get, the word used will become an adjective, meaning being familiar. The expression will be or become or get plus used. And prepositions, we must follow a gerund. I'm used to traveling by sea. I travel by sea a lot and I find it very natural. Another one, however, I will never get what? Used to flying. Flying will never feel natural to me. I think I am finally becoming used to getting up. Used what? To getting up. So getting up early in the morning is becoming easier and easier. There are some common mistakes by using used to. Let's take a look. What are they? In expression be, become, and get used to, the word used is a preposition. So because it's a preposition, so it always followed by a gerund. Never, never, never by the infinitive. So I got used to fly is a wrong expression. The correct expression should be I got used to flying in helicopters. Here. Alright. So that's all for this chapter. Like this video and subscribe to our channel. See you next time. Goodbye.